All right, y'all. So after 2 years, Nikke has officially reran the Nier collab, and with that, we have access to 2B again. So in today's video, we're going to be showcasing 2B to see how good she is in 2025, especially with a lot of the new supporter characters we have now that we definitely did not have back in the days. Make sure you guys subscribe and like. Let's get into it. All right, so this is the team we're gonna go in here with. Obviously, everybody here besides Helm, but technically Helm's favorite item is everybody here is new, right? Everybody here is technically new, and all these characters have supports that do benefit 2B. The problem with 2B, I feel like, and I know it's still going to be an issue now, is the simple fact that she's good for long fights, right? Like, she gets better the longer the fight goes on, right? But it's just kind of a waste, because it's like while you're building up for her to reach her peak, there's just characters who would just have outperformed her if you're like using her over them. Basically, depending on how many times you use her burst skill, she's going to give herself a max HP buff, and that will, you know, stack up. It goes to a maximum of 3. So the first time you use her burst skill, as you guys see here, like 21 million, it's crazy. It looks good, but it's like not too crazy. I mean, it's pretty good actually, but obviously the first time she used her burst skill, she gave herself a 7.75%, you know, HP buff. That's just because my skills are, you know, 7.75, but after the, you know, second burst skill that she uses, it's going to go to 15.5% plus the 7.75%, and then by the time she uses her third burst skill, she's going to have that 44.63% continuously, which I feel like is good, especially with someone like Rouge, who also has the same effect basically, where she's constantly giving all allies insane max HP, right? This character Rouge with 2B is just going to be crazy, and we're going to see that as the fight goes by. So let's keep going, right? Not only that, 2B does have a skill where after 300 normal attacks, she has this AoE rocket thing that deals, you know, 167% of final attack as damage. Mine is not 167% because I have 2B at level 5 skills, and I think I'm gonna keep her there, to be honest with you guys. But you guys will see, it's like little missiles that come on, right? The missile target's gonna hit all enemies, and then once it does, boom, right there. That right there is what, you know, 2B has going on for herself in terms of damage. That and her insane burst skill, right? If you guys didn't already know, her burst skill comes hit like very hard, right? It's quite the multiple. I mean, it's of distributed damage, so it's not as crazy as people think, but she does deal like over 2,000% at level 10. Again, it is the distributed damage, so if she's attacking one enemy, that full 2,000 is going to one enemy, not to mention the additional, you know, 600% of final attack as additional damage that she does to one enemy with the highest HP. And again, if you're fighting one enemy, that one enemy is taking the 2,000% and the, you know, I guess 700 or 800% it usually is, but in our case, that 1,800% plus the 600%. So I feel like 2B is, you know, it is what it is. She is at her, you know, second burst skill right now. So by the time you use her third burst skill, she's going to be fully stacked up, right? That's the thing about 2B. She's going to be fully stacked up when we use her second or her third burst skill, so the next burst rotation here, right? And she's at 100k, which is like, okay, cool, but you guys can see that HP right there stacking. Survival, right? We have the 7.75 there, and then we should have another survival, which is right here, that 15, right? But that third burst skill is going to give her a massive jump, and remember, she gives herself an attack buff of 6% of the cast's final max HP continuously. So the more HP she has throughout the battle, the stronger she gets. So this right here is going to be her third. Okay, well, oh my god, the cooldown, we didn't have cooldown reduction there, so Helm used her burst skill. That's fine, I feel like, because obviously with Rouge on our team, Rouge is a character who's, again, giving, you know, a lot of HP. Game Master is what we're looking for. Not only that, she does give, you know, coin flip as well. So if we go ahead and take a look at 2B, let's look for those buffs, right? Coin flip right there, that's not an HP buff though. That is I don't see the, okay, here, so this is the HP buff of coin flip, right? So when we're in the burst skill, Game Master, we have, you know, all 3 or all 2, no, I'm pretty sure she has 3 effects, right? And they're all HP, yeah. So we don't have this one yet. We don't have the, you know, double sword coin status one yet. And when do we get that? We have to have used Rouge's burst skill 5 times, so we should have that one then, no? Am I tripping? Oh, we do have the max HP right there. Game Master is right there. The max HP is increased by 15%, right? Is that correct? no, 23%. That's what I'm looking for. So I guess the next time we use, you know, 2B's burst skill, we're gonna see 2B pop off for real, right? Because she's gonna have a lot of max HP buffs from Rouge. She's gonna have crazy. Okay, let's see. Right now she's at 133 million, right? And that jumped from 133 million to 173 million. Again, I didn't expect it to be too crazy in 2025, but now she has too much max HP. Like, look at her max HP. Her max HP is at 7 million, right? Her max HP being at 7 million means that this, I guess in her case, 4.76% attack buff is like, I don't even know. I have to freaking put up the calculations, right? But to have that HP as your max HP and then you're getting an attack buff and then all your damage is the final damage, it's quite crazy. But like, if you guys take a look, her damage isn't too good. You know what I mean? She is barely higher than Crown. Mind you, she's type advantage here. Nobody else was type advantage here but 2B. And this is what I mean. I don't feel like they should have reran this character if they weren't gonna buff her. Like, it's like, what's the point? Because now you drop, I guess realistically, 3 sets of characters who have 2022, 2023 kits. You know what I mean? And it's just pointless in my opinion. They should have never dropped 2B if they didn't buff her. Or I feel like they should have buffed her at least. I'm not gonna say they shouldn't have dropped her, but I feel like they should have 100% buffed her, especially since like she's dropping in 2025. They could have given her a favorite item or something, like be the first collab character with a favorite item, right? And you guys can see like she's gonna do damage now, right? Because we've used her burst skill 3 times. So her max HP basically, like when you're in a full burst, even let's come off the full burst. Let's see what her max HP is when we're not in a full burst, right? When we're not in a full burst, her max HP is at what? 5 or basically 6 million. It's still quite high, right? But when we're in a full burst, which we're always going to be in a full burst realistically, and now that she used her burst skill 3 times, she's always going to have max HP buffs from herself, and then Rouge the burst 1 on a 20-second cooldown, so she's always going to have Rouge's buffs as well. But this is the whole thing with 2B, and this is the problem back in the day as well. She was a character that like essentially took too long to build up, and it's like once you built up, after you fully built up with her, it's like too late. That's the whole thing with her. That's like realistically the issue, right? Way too long to build up, and when she finally built up, it's like, what's the point? Because you just wasted like a good 40 to 50 seconds trying to build this character up to be at her peak, to still not even do that much damage, because like she just doesn't do that much damage. It is what it is. But I feel like obviously with the characters we have nowadays, they help. Like Crown and Helm are helping her big time. And someone like Rouge is helping her very, like they're helping her big time. You know what I mean? But I just feel like if you take a look at the damage here, right? She's at 403 million, while, you know, Helm and Crown, who are not type advantage at all, are at 339 million, 323 million. And then obviously Cinderella's at 1.2 billion. And it's like, I don't expect 2B to ever be stronger than Cinderella, but 2B, I feel like they could have done something for her. Maybe if you want to try using 2B as an off-field burst 3, you could do that, but I just don't see why you would want to do that. Like, it just doesn't make sense to me personally. But that's just my take on it, right? We can go try her in actual content to see how she performs, but I don't think she's going to perform that good, to be honest. Now, this is not a team I would actually use against Indivilia, but it's like the monstrous trio. I might as well just put them with her, because like if I'm not using this team and if I'm not using characters who give a crazy max HP buff, she's really just not going to do anything whatsoever. So me giving her this team is quite generous. I mean, I'm sure if you are summoning for her, you did not expect, I mean, I've been saying it for a long time now, but I hope you guys did not expect for you to like summon for her and be able to use her realistically. She's just not good, right? To have to use her burst skill 3 times, her burst skill specifically to fully stack up, I feel like if they made it that if we entered a full burst 3 times, she could have been better than she is now. But to have to use her burst skill 3 times before she's like fully stacked up is just a bit silly in my opinion. Like look at her damage right now, 18 million. You know, all this damage like from her skill, her burst skill went to Indivilia right now, right? And it only went from 18 million to 27 million. Like it was a 9 million jump, like to be for real. So it's like, I don't know, I can't really sit here and promote it. I just can't. As much as I would love to, I just can't promote it. It's just not right. It's not right for me to sit there and tell people to summon for someone who's obviously, I mean, if you want to, by all means, like, I'm not gonna say don't be an idiot and summon. Like, if you want her for collections, like, I'm not gonna, I love having Tubi on my account, right? In terms of, like, I own the character, and that's how it is for every and any collab they ever do, right? So if you're like that, by all means, go ahead and summon, right? Don't let me stop you guys summoning. Don't let her being quote unquote bad stop you from summoning. I feel like her skill too is useful in the sense of, like, it's like Small Whites, where when it comes to projectiles, it's not as efficient as Small Whites, but you know, it is like Small Whites, where when it comes to projectiles, that like second skill can help. Like, look, these mobs, for example, right? She's about to go for these mobs or whatever after like 300 normal attacks or whatever. I mean, they already died instantly, but what's her damage at after like a minute or whatever? Like, she's not even at 100 million yet. And it's just like, why am I going to use 2B, right? To be fair, to be able to get to stage 5 with this team, remember, for all these stages, you only need to be able to get to stage 7. So if you really love, you know, 2B, just, I would say, invest into like everybody else on the team, and then just slap 2B on the team. And like, it's kind of one of those things where it's like, you know, they're in the group, but they didn't put in the work, but they got the, you know, the grade. Do that, right? Because we still have a minute left, right? And we have yet to die or anything like that. Obviously, I would say we're about to be at stage 6, probably could push stage 7. And remember, the rewards from stage 7, 8, and 9 are all the same. But realistically, once you get to stage 7, you've gotten all the rewards for Anomaly interception. If you want to realistically like do that, you can go ahead and do that. I just obviously wouldn't recommend it, like, as you guys know, but you can go ahead and do that if you really want to. She didn't even die there, right? But then again, you gotta remember, she has insane HP, so that's the one thing I can give her credit for. I don't expect her to die whatsoever, just because she does have insane max HP. You know what I mean? I will give her that. She does have insane HP, right? We've used her burst skill about 3 times now. Her HP is at 5.2 million. Everybody else is gonna be at like 2-ish million, or like, I guess 3 million, right? Even Crown has a lot less HP than 2B, and that's because of her insane buff. So that's the one thing. 2B is not going to die on your team realistically, especially with healers and, you know, shields and tanks and whatever. She's not going to die. Is she putting in a lot of work? Not really. Like, I feel like 200 million is cool. It's just, there's no point. You're probably just not gonna, I don't know. Like, we could probably get to stage 6 here. Like, if I could get to stage 6 with 2B, I'll give her the credit, right? But then again, it's like Rappy doing the job. But we are gonna get to stage 6 here, it looks like. Right? Are we? I don't know. We used reverse skill. Reverse skill got us to stage 6, right? But I mean, I don't know. Her damage is not good whatsoever. I mean, I don't need to explain it any further for you guys. I'm sure you guys understand, right? This is just the reality of them re-releasing a 2023 character in 2025 without buffing them. I feel like this was a great opportunity to not only give them favorite items, but they could have buffed like 4 collab characters off of this. 2B, A2, and then probably Makima and Power, right? And I know it's a bit crazy for me to say, oh, well, this is not a Chainsaw Man collab, so they couldn't really buff them up. But it's like, are you telling me because they're collab characters, they're never gonna get buffed? You know what I mean? Why re-release this character and not give her any form of buff, whether it was stat buffs or whether it was there's a minor tweaks to the skills? Why not do that? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if this was a money grab or if they just did this because people actually wanted this. I mean, I haven't seen people asking for this for quite some time. I know people did want this collab back, but I think when people said they wanted this collab back, they meant like how they did for the Evangelion, where they dropped 2 new characters that are good in 2025, not just re-releasing 2023 characters. But I'm not going to complain whatsoever. I never used her before, and I'm still not going to use her now. So if you guys enjoyed this showcase, you know, hopefully you guys, you know, enjoyed this showcase. Subscribe and like, and I'm going to see you guys in the next one. Stay tuned for A2's video.